This video is part of a series of 16 presentations by Crystal Witten, PhD, based on her book, Country Living. See the video description for availability. The free videos can be found as parts 361 to 376 at www.preparingforthetimeoftrouble.com.
Let's talk about the 20 steps to moving to the country and what those steps can be. The first step is spiritual preparation, which is essential. And this is evaluating each other, evaluating each spouse. How is your brain function? A lot of times women, after they have a child, they get postpartum depression. If they don't come out of that postpartum depression, it can become ingrained and it can become chronic. And so it's hard if you experience postpartum depression. That's something that you probably need to deal with before you move to the country. In the book, in the appendix, there's something called the Personal Skills Inventory Assessment. And I think there's almost 200 questions that the assessment goes over. And these are skills that you would need if you move to the country. How many of these skills do you have? So that's important. We're going to cover this at a later date. Number 3, make the commitment to moving to the country by taking purposeful steps. So deciding where you want to move to the country. Is it going to be local, a different state, a different country? So these are important things. These are the first steps that you're going to want to take. Where do you want to go? Do you want to be near friends and family? How far out of the city do you want to be? Maybe you travel a lot, so being more than 2 hours away from a major airport, you don't want to be too much further than an hour or two away. So these are things to start thinking and considering. If you know your target location, set up a line of communication with real estate agents, with people, maybe bankers, with people in the church where you're heading, with business leaders. So you're trying to set up a network of people that can give you a heads up. Oh, there's a 15, 20 acre property that my best friend's going to be selling in a month or two. Would you be interested in seeing it before we put it on the market? So these are the kind of things you want to start setting up. Do your research on where you want to move. Maybe visit the places where you think you're going to move to. You might think you want to live somewhere. You might think Arkansas is the place I want to be, but you go there in the middle of July and you realize there's mosquitoes, there's some snakes, it's hot, it's humid. Maybe Arkansas, as beautiful as it is, I think I want somewhere different. And nothing wrong with Arkansas. Lots of people are in Arkansas. But visit the place where you think you want to live and, pray that God gives you spiritual eyesight. For example, you might see a property that everyone else would pass up because it doesn't look good. It has junk on it. It has an old trailer on it. But when you look at that property, it's like, well, if it has a trailer on it, it has water, it has electric, it has a septic. So these are things that has, maybe telephone lines going in. So you see a diamond in the rough where everyone else just sees this ugly trailer. And you can take that trailer, take it apart, send it to the junkyard, and you have all of the utilities that you need there. And you can either park an RV there, or you can put a shed on the property. A lot of times sheds don't require permits, and so you can put a temporary shed. You can live there while you're building a home, building a house, and making a place to live. So set up a line of communication with people that would have access to properties, would be selling properties. I think I said that. Step 6, make a list of your must-haves, your necessities. So, for example, a lot of people want a year-round creek on their property. They want a spring on the property. They want a lake or a pond on the property. They want a forest. They want to have timber on the property. So these are the things, your must-haves. Step 7, do a financial statement listing your assets and liabilities. And this is basically if, how much do you own? How much do you owe? And if you have a lot of debt and you move to the country and you don't have an income stream set up, that may not be such a smart move. So maybe you need to pay off your debt before you make plans to move to the country. And if that's the case, then you need to make a plan for paying off your debt. Step 8 is pay off your debts. Step 9, live below your means. Step 10, when you're getting kind of close to moving to the country, decide what you don't need and sell off everything you don't need. So, and use the money when you sell your stuff, use that money to either pay off your debts or go into a savings account. Start reading books, talking to other people, watch videos, talk with those who have successfully moved to the country. These are important things. Step 12, evaluate your vehicles. So if you have a bunch of luxury vehicles, they may not work in the country, especially if you're going to be driving on a dirt road for a mile or 2 or 3 or 4. The dirt road will wreck those vehicles. So look at your vehicles. Do you have a truck? Do you have some means of pulling a trailer behind you? These are all things that you might be doing in the country. So it's important to assess your vehicles. Step 13, God probably gave you a vision of why you need to be in the country. Some people want to start a health ministry in the country. Some people want to have greenhouses in the country. My advice, and I've seen a lot of my friends do this, my advice is start small. So don't have this big, huge vision and think you have to do everything at the very beginning. Start small. Get a bunch of small successes under your belt. This is actually much better than starting too big and failing. So start small and let God grow the vision. Step 14, match your skills and training with what you plan to do to earn a living. If you're going to be doing medical outreach or pastoral outreach in the country, you need to have some kind of training in those areas. You wouldn't want to open up a place that brings people with sickness and illness and not have any training in that area, because there's a lot that can go wrong, and what you don't know can hurt the other person. So you can't project a level of expertise that you don't have. So sure, you can bring people into your home, you can cook for them and do some good things, but when you jump into the realm of providing medical advice, if you don't have that training, you can get into a lot of trouble. And so I recommend matching your skills and your training and your experience to what you plan to do in the country. So for example, if you are a mechanic, mechanics are needed all the time in the country to repair tractors and trucks and farm equipment. So you can do a lot of great and valuable things, but try to use the gifts that God has given you. Step 15, get healthy. So address all your issues, preferably before you get to the country. So if you have high blood pressure, that's something that, let's start working on losing a little bit of weight. Let's work on our diet. Let's work on our lifestyle, because these are important for getting healthy. And you probably want to do that before you move to the country. If you move to the country and you're overweight and your blood pressure is high and you have artery disease, are you going to be able to do vigorous type activity? Are you going to be able to do everything that you need to do in the country? So my advice is to get as healthy as possible before you move to the country. Although moving to the country will just in general also make you more healthy. So I'll let you find that sweet spot where it's just right for you to move to the country. Number 16, be prepared for hard work. So you're not going to move to the country and spend 2 or 3 hours every day online on the computer. When you move to the country, you're going to be doing lots of chores. There's a lot of things that go on. Every time you add another person to your household, there's going to be more work. Every time you add an animal to your household, there's going to be more work. Dogs take work. You can't just ignore a dog. Chickens take work. You can't ignore the chickens. So having a farm, living in the country, there's a lot of things that you're going to be doing that you didn't have to do in the city. So it's very important to be prepared for hard work. Learn to be content with what you have. And that, I think that's pretty important. You're not going to have all the luxuries maybe you had in the city. You're not going to be able to go down and get Thai food. 10 minutes, you have this wonderful Thai meal, you take it home, you eat it. So these things aren't going to happen necessarily in the country. Step 18, if possible, set up one or more income streams before you move to the country, which would be like passive income. That's if you've written a book. That means that if it sells a little bit, you're going to get a check once a month. It may not be a big check. It might be $50. But over time, God can bless your book. He can bless your work. And that could be maybe a greater income down the line. Maybe you can do your job from home. A lot of people after COVID, we learned to work from home. So if you can work from home and you can get good internet at your country home, you can set up that income stream and make sure it's going to be okay. It's going to be sustainable once you move to the country. Step 19, we're almost done with this. If your cup is full and your heart is open, be inclusive. So for example, I'm single, never been married, don't have kids. Even though I'm in the country now, I'm not sure I'll be staying there. I might be moving around the world, who knows? But at some point, someone like me, a single person, may need a place in the country. Maybe a small family needs to be in the country, but they haven't prepared. They haven't made the plans. But if your cup is full and your heart is open, you can include these people, and hopefully they'll be a great asset once they arrive to your place in the country. So that's just something to think about. The final step, number 20, spend time with God and study in prayer. And this is something that you want to do every day.
To be aware of new videos like this one, be sure to subscribe to the Preparing for the Time of Trouble channel. For more free videos and downloadable audio podcasts, as well as handouts, go to www.preparingforthetimeoftrouble.com. Topic categories include recordings of live seminar presentations, country living, sustainable gardening, homestead remedies, how to be self-sufficient when the grid goes down, wild edible and medicinal plants, hydrotherapy, and end-time Bible prophecies. To take advantage of these free resources, go to preparingforthetimeoftrouble.com.